KingofPodcasts.com proudly presents The Wrestling is Real Podcast, because wrestling needs us. Presented by KingofAmazon.com. When you think of Amazon, think KingofAmazon.com. We're in the middle of a very busy wrestling weekend here on the Wrestling is Real Podcast. Tonight's program, I am going to recap for you NWA Into the Fire and Ring of Honor's Final Battle, all coming to you right here at KingofPodcasts.com. Of course, if you go to the website, you'll see that I made significant changes to the website, made it a lot easier for you to navigate and look around. And I took all the ads off. Look, I made it so easy for you. It's so easy to load right now. The site looks great. Even better than I think I've ever had it ever before, to be honest with you. But you'll look right there, you'll see the latest episode, and then you can always look for all the other episodes we have. You look for the subscribe button and just subscribe like crazy to all the different places you can find the show. There's a lot of places. It's everywhere. Just look for wherever you find your podcasts. Look for Wrestling is Real Wrestling Podcast. You'll find it. Subscribe to it. You'll never miss an episode. And please rate and review when you can, especially if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. And I hope you'll do that if you are listening that way. Meantime, Amazon.com, that's the place to go and go when you need to go and buy anything and everything. I got to go buy some stuff on there tonight, some soap, some other stuff like that. I bought a couple of pairs of new shoes. I keep buying, I'll buy chewing gum. I'll buy different products I need around the house. Everything I need. But I'll tell you what, I love going through Amazon for Audible. I use the Prime card, my Prime Visa card, so I go and get points back on purchases. I'm looking to go buy all my Christmas gifts and get them in time for Christmas. As we record tonight, you definitely can get your presents and whatever you need to get within the next week or so. Some things you can probably get within 2 days if they're Prime products. And if you're a Prime customer, you'll get things in 2 days or 1 day delivery, 1 day shipping, free shipping, 1 day delivery on many items, hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of items. That's how it is right now. Amazon does it for you. I don't have to tell you anything more. But if you want to help out the show, you will help out greatly when you go through my special link, KingofAmazon.com, KingofAmazon.com. That's the best way to go. So that's the plug I'm going to do tonight. Now, we're going to start with Into the Fire, which was, wow, that was good. It's something to be said about how the show started. When you look at all the shows that we've had that started this year, really, of all the changes that were being made this year on television and just in general, the promotions, a lot has got to be said about how the different promotions have changed so significantly in the last year. Since the AEW incorporation, the introduction of that promotion to everyone, not to mention everything else we're seeing when it comes to, oh my goodness, when you're looking at the changes that WWE is trying to make to try to keep themselves ahead, then you're looking at what all the turnaround change that Ring of Honor has gone through in 1 year. They've gone through tremendous sea change on their brand. And they're in a really bad spot this year where they're in a real rebuilding spot, and they're hurting a lot for when it comes to a lot of different things that they're working on right now. So you're looking at that. MLW puts out their first pay-per-view of the year. AEW debuts their TV show. Impact Wrestling moves over to Access TV. All the major changes that are going on right now. And then we get to NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. When we used to follow the fact that the NWA was the title that was used in several different places, when you think about TNA, and then TNA decided to step away from the NWA affiliation. And then you had all the different companies that were associated with the NWA in some way, shape, or form. You had the World Class Championship Wrestling. You had Mid-South. You had Mid-Atlantic. And you had so many different places that represented the NWA. going back to 1901. Was it not what it was? 1901, George Hackenschmidt, the first champion. And you go through all the names that have come through it. And the fact that William Patrick Corgan, Billy Corgan, has been able to successfully, I think he has successfully resurrected that brand. The brand has prestige. The heritage has been reestablished and redefined. And he has brought together a product that I think a lot of people are proud of. Wrestling aficionados must love. I already can tell you, old school fans love this product. It's so good. And there's something to be said about the roster that they've brought on board and who they've been able to get in here to do things on the program. And it's amazing. So with all that said, we're looking at Into the Fire, a pay-per-view they decided to go and put out this year. The previous one that they did before was you can see it was April 27th. That was the Crockett Cup, which was a deal that worked with Ring of Honor and NWA. And what happened was the Ring of Honor affiliation was there, and then all of a sudden Ring of Honor and NWA split, which was an amicable split. But the one thing is that when this was all put together, the idea was they wanted to go ahead and change the way things were. NWA wanted to be standalone, no affiliations with other organizations, not like they did before, because they were using other organizations to help kind of get the product going and just going and doing product as the brand NWA. But then Billy Corgan and Dave Lagana, they decided, okay, let's go ahead and create a standalone brand. Let's start trying to create our own promotion. We already had the name synonymous with something, but now we're going to bring it up because we don't need to establish other stars. We're just going to have a very lean, mean machine of a roster. And that roster is going to be utilized greatly. October 8, 2019, the first episode of NWA Power, to amazing fanfare, by the way. I don't know how many people have talked about it so far, or how many viewers have caught that show on television, but it has done so well to get things started. The first episode of NWA Power so far, 579,000 views, which is very good for a wrestling show out of nowhere. Then they get affiliation with Fight TV, and then they just go ahead and decide, okay, we're going to go ahead and put together a pay-per-view, culminating with all that happened throughout the TV tapings on NWA Power to deliver a very good pay-per-view. So Joe Galli is accompanied by Stu Bennett on the program, GPB Studios, Atlanta, Georgia. And they definitely didn't take everything away from the NWA Power program. They gave it more of they definitely put it as a pay-per-view feel. You had all the wrestlers coming out to entrances, kind of did Lucha Underground style, where you saw the wrestlers entering from the top of the stairs, from the scaffold down into the ring. So a little bit of that, but it looked really good. It was still a studio show. You still had the, David Martinez interviews. You still had Joe Galli and Stu Bennett you would see at ringside, and all of that was there. The presentation was very good, and for a live show, they did very well. I mean, for what it was worth, I thought the production was solid. I think they might have missed a couple of camera shots, but again, it's the GPB studio group that's doing it. But watching it on Fight TV, it came out great. It looked great. Part of the pay-per-view I watched on my phone, walking around an outlet mall, and then I watched it on the way home, and then I got to about halfway through, and I got home to watch it put it on, and cast it on TV. But I'll tell you, it was really well done. And with the matches they put out, they were very good. Now, here's what we got so far. The matches we had tonight, first of all, you had two guys from Impact Wrestling, originally from Impact Wrestling, and then Eli Drake made his way into the NWA. Ken Anderson followed suit. And Ken Anderson, we haven't seen much of since he left Impact Wrestling. He's been kind of off the map, off the radar. And I haven't seen him on TV in other promotions. But Ken Anderson did not have to go too much with his own gimmick. It's his gimmick in NWA is, the gimmick already, but he's not super over the top with the gimmick. Like, he's definitely not going asshole. He's not getting the microphone drawn to him, hanging from above the ring. He's not getting any of that. You're just going along with the motions and just saying, okay, let's go ahead and go out there, be tough guy, and wrestle hard, be a grizzled veteran. And that's what he is. And Eli Drake looks like a star. Hell of a match with Ken Anderson. And Eli Drake, I think they have positioned him very well to go after the national title or go for world title greatness at some point, the way they want to set things up. I do like the way they're putting it all together. Thunder Rosa against Tasha Steelz, and Tasha Steelz did a promo that was, passable. Thunder Rosa is so over with this crowd. She's the most over girl in the whole group, overshadowing Melina and the whole faction that's there. Thunder Rosa is just is a step above everybody else. Much more a step above Allison Kay, who's the women's world title holder. And what has to happen to that is eventually Allison Kay and Thunder Rosa are going to have to meet ahead for the world title, and that's going to be probably, who knows, the next pay-per-view they have it, or they just have it on television. But that's a feud that's going to be coming up soon that they're going to have that happen. But now we have people on their sides, and which was very well done. So Thunder Rosa, in pretty good fashion, strong, a very strong style match, by the way. Thunder Rosa she's very aggressive. She's tough. And she's as good as any of the women's wrestlers I could see. I mean, I could definitely see her if you put her into a Knockouts roster at Impact, or if you put her onto the MLW roster, obviously, as they're building that up. And WWE might be lost in the fold. That's the only thing. But as a wrestler, she's very good. She is as solid as you can get. Very good at the foot stomp, and just very good at all her moves. And very good at being aggressive and just staying on top and really playing up the heel heat. I thought she did a really good job. It doesn't say much, and that works for her. Third match is when I really got things picked up was the question mark. Because this guy, the Mongrovian National... So the fun stuff started coming here. Aron Stevens and question mark are so damn over right now in this company. I love it. All that they're doing with it. So you get the Mongrovian national anthem. You get the flag of the Mongrovian flag with the question mark on it. And Sensei question. Aron Stevens puts out an amazing promo. Aron Stevens is on fire right now. He is one of the best things in NWA. And he is comedy relief. And he is just, he would fit so well in the old days. The guy just gets it. He's got old school timing with him, man. I mean, he honestly has the reins of like a Larry Zbyszko type or an Adrian Adonis. He just has it. That flamboyance, he gets it too. He gets the Adrian Adonis thing. He gets the Playboy Buddy Rose, like that, kind of just fey, but very like just a little flamboyant for the flavor of the audience. But he's good and he's conniving and he's a sneak, and that's pretty good stuff. It's his best work yet. Wait, this is better than Damien Mizdow. You can say what you want, but I can tell, you can just see Aron Stevens is having very much fun out there. He's having a blast out there. And I can feel like his whole gimmick is what he wanted to do. Even the Aaron Rex character wasn't so much like this in Impact Wrestling, but I'll tell you, here, it's grown. And I mean, he is doing the stuff he wanted to do here, and I just feel like he has it all put together. And it's amazing where this is a guy that, WWE did some good stuff with him, but man, they missed the boat. They forget how charismatic Aron Stevens is, how much of a gimmick he can play, and just how much he's able to humiliate and just, put himself out there for the crowd. He is so good at it. He's humbling. And, really, it's just an amazing sight to see how well he's over. And honestly, I think he's helped the question mark character a lot. Question mark karate. And then the way he sounds in the national anthem was hilarious. Like, what a gimmick. so gimmick is so good. It is wrestling personified. I can't even put a comparison to who the question mark reminds me of. But, I mean, he is. He's just like, you know what? Question mark is, he gives me the vibe of George the Animal Steel. It's not even me trying to compare him, anything like that, but I just feel like when you talk about a monster, just out there and doesn't really just say much. But question mark here, it just works. I don't know. I mean, he's good in the ring. He stays in character very well. Hey, man, that's kayfabe, but you really don't do that much like that anymore. Really works out here. Question mark over Trevor Murdoch. Good stuff. Thunder Rosa over Tasha Steelz. Pretty quick order. And Eli Drake over Ken Anderson. And then Eli Drake would later attack Ken Anderson, or get attacked by Ken Anderson after a promo, and they went ahead and took care of that. Rock and Roll Express, after they win the NWA World Tag Team titles for the 9th time on NWA Power, what was it, 3 weeks ago? Amazing. And they're good, man. You know what? Ricky Morton is ageless. This guy, again, it doesn't matter where he is. Hey, you did it in AEW. He did the Topa Suicida through the middle ropes out to the floor, and the Canadian Destroyer. He does it here again. This guy, I don't know how he's able to keep doing that. And I gotta say this too. Stu Bennett really did offer a lot. I was very fascinated by the fact that Robert Gibson trained him at Ohio Valley Wrestling in Louisville. So I just forgot, the Rock and Rolls, they probably did training with Jim Cornette in Ohio Valley, because that's just, of course, there's a camaraderie right there. And the fact that, and it was interesting. I wasn't sure what to think. My criticism, not sure what to think about the Dawsons and Outlaw Inc. accompanying both teams at ringside. I mean, that was the kind of the plunder that caused the Rock and Roll Express to win. So obviously you have these 4 teams as the focus of the tag team division to give them some kind of inclusivity into the pay-per-view. I could see why they did that, but it was a little bit, it felt kind of off to see everybody there when it was the tag team match that we're supposed to see, but the plunder outside by these other teams that really had nothing to do. They were called out for security reasons, but it's because of the fact that, the Rock and Roll Express said they needed security backup, but then the Dawsons come out as backup for them. So it was really kind of weird how they put them together, but I'm going to let that pass. Benefit of the doubt. Rock and Roll Express win over the Wild Cards. And look, Wild Cards are good. I like them, but there's not much to them. They're just big guys. And we already have big guys in the Dawsons, and the Dawsons already shown us that they have more charisma and more character than Latimer and Isaacs. That's just the point. And it was really interesting how they put that together. But again, Rock and Roll, they find a way to win. They're showing the veteran wisdom that these two guys have in the ring, because they're not supposed to be able to beat the Wild Cards like they do, but they have twice. So that's a good story they're going to continue to tell. And you got 3 really good teams that you can put together. I mean, the Wild Card, I think, now that they've lost the belts, I think to see Outlaw Inc. or the Dawsons going after those belts next would be a good thing here. I think that's where they go with that. And I'd like to see something like that going on. So Melina and Marty Bell, they get Allison Kay, and Allison Kay does get a partner because Ashley Fox got destroyed by Thunder Rosa in her match, which is really good because Thunder Rosa decided to go and bash down Tasha Steelz after the match. Pure healed him, and Ashley Fox comes out to try to get the save, and she gets destroyed. And hell of a job, man. Really good stuff on the work of Thunder Rosa. So ODB comes out as the guest tag team partner for Allison Kay. Not enough, because Melina and Marty Bell win the match. And that's good. Allison Kay found a way, and they will be resurrecting, and they will be crowning a new NWA World Television Champion. That is fantastic. I can't even tell you how great that is. And I'm curious as to who they think would be the NWA TV champ. But they got a national champ, and now they have world champ, tag champs, TV champ, just like it used to be, just like the old NWA used to be, just like World Class used to be. World Championship Wrestling, WCW, excuse me, not World Class. But that's it. There we go. Loving it all. Great pay-per-view tonight. Really, really good stuff. I enjoyed it a lot. Now, moving along, Final Battle. Real quickly, they put 3 matches on the first hour, so I did not catch these. Silas Young and Josh Woods over Dalton Castle and Joe Henry. Ugh. Dalton Castle, I don't understand why he's been thrown all the way up to the curtain jerker in the pre-show. What happened to Dalton Castle? Is he just can't work hard anymore, or just the gimmick is what? But they have damaged that character. I don't understand why he's being put in with Joe Henry. I don't understand why he's being pulled away. Like after he lost the belt, after Dalton Castle lost the belt to Roosh, and Roosh since then has been champion, correct? He has not lost to anybody. Well, we get to this point, and I'm like, what? Why did they let this happen like this? I don't get that part. But anyways, and then Silas Young and Josh Woods win over Dalton Castle and Joe Henry. Kenny King over Rhett Titus. I kind of expected that one to happen. Jeff Cobb over Dan Maff. And, I can totally understand these matches not being on the main show. That's fine with me because I don't think it matched much to what else there was. Otherwise, 8 matches on the card. Final Battle at the UMBC Event Center, Baltimore, Maryland. First off, you had Bandito Flamita from CMLL, who are now Ring of Honor stars. Flamita, now the newest member of the Ring of Honor roster, against Villain Enterprises, Marty Scurll. Flip Gordon. It's very unfortunate Brody King cannot be wrestling right now, but he's hurt. And when you have such a big name that they brought on the contract with PCO and he's not getting used, I just feel like from all the highlights and all the things I've seen of what they've been doing with this whole thing, there hasn't been much going on that I really enjoyed. Vincent and Matt Taven, I did not care about. I think, the Kingdom wasn't a group that we really cared much about. I know Vincent's got a certain gimmick right now. I don't like it. I don't like the character. I don't like Vincent at all. There's just nothing there. I know it was supposed to look kind of like a cult leader, devilish horror king. That's a horrible gimmick. Sorry. And Matt Taven looks like nothing here, and he just got blown up. He just got destroyed here, and I don't know what to think. But Matt Taven gets buried. Dalton Castle gets buried. That doesn't make sense while they're doing all this. And Mark Haskins' Bully Ray was a match that went way too long. Again, street fight. It's like you have to go through all the different things they got to throw out there. And Bully Ray just throws himself for punishment for what? Like it's whoever the next flavor of the month, for another extreme match. There's no more Flip Gordon in the mix. Now it's Mark Haskins. And by the way, I guess Lifeblood is no longer a thing. That's completely kind of out. I mean, Juice Robinson's not around. So that whole New Japan thing is now completely done too. So, nothing at all. I didn't care for Mark Haskins in this match. Yeah, he put himself through some tough stuff, but I don't care for the character. The storyline with Vicky Haskins, don't care about that either. Just don't. Took a long time for Maria Maniac to go ahead and take on Angelina Love and to finally have some attacks up against Allure. Didn't care much about this match much either. 6 minutes for that match. By the way, Alex Shelley in 6 minutes beats Colt Cabana. And Alex Shelley, listen, the guy's been a good wrestler. I think he's relevant, I guess, when you put the machine guns together. But man, this guy there's just nothing there. I remember I actually kind of enjoyed him when he was doing the whole camera thing at TNA. Otherwise, I've never been anything much in Alex Shelley at all. At all. He has been flat to me for so long. And that's what he was tonight again. And Colt Cabana gets a match, so he can go, and then he goes on the way out. And Colt Cabana is no longer working with Ring of Honor whatsoever. He's completely done with the company for the 3rd time. Done. Okay, that's fine. So Colt Cabana, I guess, would be straight up NWA and works other shows. Good. Because he's in a good place right there. I like where Colt Cabana is right now in the NWA. I like the work he's been putting in the NWA. Probably his best work ever. Shane Taylor Promotions. I know this is they put this together, and Shane Taylor is Yeah, been the champion for a while now, the TV champ, against Dragon Lee. And Dragon Lee liked him so much better, like in Japan and other places. But here it's like, just not much here. One thing I gotta say is, big difference when you have to think about all the Japanese wrestlers you used to see in here on a regular basis, which I really didn't care much about the Japanese wrestlers, on exchange here, unless they were the really big names, which is what we all cared about. When Okada or Nakamura or AJ Styles comes in, or Cody Rhodes, or any other New Japan stars that were really of the top tier. And then we get these guys from CMLL that are coming in, and man, it just doesn't feel the same. It's just like they're good matches, but there's nothing you can do with the gimmicks. Flamita and Bandito, there's not much you can do with those gimmicks. It's luchadors. And with nothing else you can add to the mix, what kind of storylines can you tell? And then you get into Dragon Lee the same way. There's not much you can tell at all with all these guys coming into the mix. Anyway, 14 minutes, Dragon Lee beat Shane Taylor. And Shane Taylor trying to look like he's like the top boxer, kind of like a Mayweather entourage. Bishop Khan, Malcolm Moses, Ron Hunt, people I do not know. It's a faction they put as a faction. It's the kind of things they like to do. And G Lethal decided to get a tag team partner. So Jonathan Gresham, now they're working together. And very good match against the Briscoes. Like, they really pulled it out. And a really strong match. Briscoes always come in strong. And this match is really quite good. Lethal Gresham, new tag team champions. But then the match I really paid attention to most of tonight, PCO against Roosh for the Ring of Honor World title. Roosh is, I can see why, man, it was going to be something to be said if Roosh would have stayed in MLW, but he might have got lost in the pack. So I think him coming into Ring of Honor, I understand why he would probably have gone there in the first place. And he did, and, he's come out very strong, and he's very good as a heel character. And he's just the one guy without a mask that can do very strong. And if they booked him very strong, like they knew there was something behind him, they had to do something with. So when they brought in Roosh, they quickly got him into the main part of the roster at the start of the year when they brought him in under contract. And that was at the whole scramble after AEW started coming into play. A real scramble for talent came in because Ring of Honor was in a bad spot at the start of the year. We have to consider that as well. Not just WWE coming into play, but AEW coming in, and then Ring of Honor just feeling like they just had to get some talent just to solidify themselves. But have they really done much with the talent they have brought in, and how much they've really got it into good chemistry? But there's a lot of guys I don't feel like really have drawing power and really have that real power to get people to talk. Like Ring of Honor, you got a lot of older stars. A lot of stars have been in the roster for a long time. You have some guys who are starting to get thrown in the mix and starting to get kind of buried and out of the whole way. They put all that time on the Matt Taven, put him as champion for a long time. I mean, for the point he lost his belt at the G1 Supercard, Matt Taven, to now, he won the belt at G1 Supercard. To lose it then afterwards, and then to completely go nowhere, right? I mean, you think about the G1 Supercard, and you look at everybody was on there, and look at how much they were getting out of that. And that was the best that the company was really getting to be. But after that, nothing. And it's a shame, because look at all the guys they had brought in and went away. So the time, Roosh in quick work beat Dalton Castle. And after that would win the world title. And you look at, Jeff Cobb was a big deal. Him and Will Ospreay, they went to a hell of a match in Ring of Honor. Jeff Cobb won over Will Ospreay. And look where he is now. Pre-show. Flip Gordon had the lifeblood thing, and Mark Haskins was part of that. And, look where they went with that. And then Dragon Lee, he was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. Look where he is now. I mean, he's like, Yeah, now he's TV champ. That's good. But it's like there's not much to him anyway when you think about the other stars that they had that are really a big deal over there. And then Matt Taven won the three-way. Sorry, that's right. Taven won over Jay Lethal and Marty Scurll. Three-way ladder match for the Ring of Honor World Title. So, I mean, Matt Taven was booked so strong. Why did they change them overnight and say, okay, no? Why was it all of a sudden Matt Taven is persona non grata? And he signed a new deal with the company. Why is he so low in the card? And why is he so insignificant? He's trying to be enhanced. He's trying to help to enhance Vincent. Why are they putting any kind of, value into Vincent when there's nothing there? He sucks. And there's nobody in here that really has like this real momentum factor that they have of all these stars there right now. I don't see any of it. None. I don't see a gimmick here that I really felt like was so over the top. And this was a company that was so good at that for so many years. And they don't have anything right now. So PCO, 51 years old. He's this resurrected phenomenon that is a hell of a character. Amazing Frankenstein character. I love it. Great. One of the best gimmicks of the year. When you had the work rate of Jay Lethal, Jonathan Gresham, and the Briscoes, and then you followed up with Roosh, which first 10 minutes of the match, very good. Okay. But then we had to go very gimmicky and very hokey. Destro using a hearse that was left parked outside by the entrance ramp. And then Destro puts in jumper cables attached to PCO's thumbs in order to resurrect him and to give him power and make him alive again. But nevertheless, PCO moonsaults like crazy, will take incredible bumps. He's so over. I understand why they put the belt on him, because there is nobody else that's getting over like PCO. He's the most over person in that company. That's it. So you got one of the oldest champions there, older than Chris Jericho and any brand. That's where we're at. Because Ring of Honor has nothing else. That's the best card. This is supposed to be the best card of the year. No. The G1 Supercard was their best card of the year, and it was loaded with talent. And the relationship they had with New Japan, it's being missed sadly now. Even the relationship they had with the NWA, sadly missed. They're in a bad spot, man. WWE, WWE, New Japan, the Lucha Libre, the AAA, all these different relationships. I don't know what happened to this company, but all the good work that they had and all the camaraderie that they had to work with other companies, it's done. And Ring of Honor is a shell of its former self right now. It's a shame. You have all these luchadors that really don't make much sense and really don't have much of a place into this whole thing. Roosh and Dragon Lee, I think, do. Bandito, not much. I mean, he's related to Roosh, right? But that's about it. Villain Enterprise is going to break up because you're going to have Marty Scurll leaving. No Colt Cabana anymore. And then you have a lot of stars that I thought are really solid. And you just... You're booking them bad. You put Jeff Cobb and Dalton Castle in the pre-show. And Kenny King, But Kenny King, he's still good. And I thought that the change of this gimmick lately has not been bad. But, him and Rhett Titus, I don't know. Ring of Honor's in a rough spot. I don't know what else they're going to be able to do to kind of get themselves boosted up and get themselves into a better place. I'm not sure. A couple of things I want to do. I want to go ahead and get into the end of year stuff. I want to get a few more things into that I didn't get a chance to talk about. Where I promised it on this past Wednesday and I didn't get the chance to get to it, but I'll get to some of that now. I was going to talk about the lead up to SummerSlam. Now, we had already talked about how AEW made their entrance, and we're going to become an actual promotion and start working their way up. A few things really stood out to me when I look at this past week's show was, first of all, I looked at the poor build-up of Becky Lynch. When you... And it comes down to today. When you look at what Becky Lynch is now, listen, the one thing that really made her the man character of any time, of any point whatsoever, 2 times. And that would be when Nia Jax punched her. And that was prior to Survivor Series, remember? Then she didn't get a chance to fight for the belt. Remember that too? Then, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she wins the Royal Rumble, loses to Asuka for the title, wins the Royal Rumble. What? And then, having the match with Ronda Rousey. And the apology, no, I'm not going to apologize. Yes, I am going to apologize. All that back and forth, flip and flop. And putting her up against the Authority, and Stephanie McMahon looked really bad. I don't think she's ever recovered from that. But for whatever reason, the push for television this year for SmackDown, they made her so front and center. And then the whole thing with Seth Rollins also just kind of elevated a little bit of things. But Becky Lynch hasn't meant nothing to me. She has, I mean, not like she doesn't mean anything. She's still a champion. And I remember, don't forget, she also lost the blue belt. The Becky 2 belts thing, which was also way over the top. Poorly booked. Somehow she's still, I guess, significantly a star. I don't think she gets that much of a rub. I mean, I don't know if she gets the drawing power at all. But they've done such a horrible job with her. And I feel bad because she's really a really good wrestler. I don't think she's a horrible talker. I don't think she's that bad, but I just think that her here in this role as the man, I just don't like the gimmick. And it's not just she can't be like tough. I just don't like this gimmick at all. You know, you had chances to do it. If you wanted to make her like a Stone Cold type of character, there was definitely chances to do that and make her much stronger, but they've weakened this character a lot. And she's never recovered from it. That's just where I feel like things are with that. The other thing is that Dean Ambrose leaves. And we heard the infamous Talk is Jericho segment and how he had to be scripted a certain way and how he had to talk about people being smelly and wore the gas mask. We cringed. He was cringing along with us. And he was always given certain things, which, if you listen back to the program, I sympathize with Dean Ambrose after he mentioned all he said, because it sounded like he was going through hell. And they brought him back as the wild guy with Seth Rollins to go and resurrect their Shield just so they can get Roman Reigns from being booed prior to everything else. And it was just so rough. And for all that was going on with him, I really like the Jon Moxley character in AEW. I think, much like Aron Stevens, talk about resurrected gimmicks. This was the Dean Ambrose, this was the Jon Moxley gimmick that people wanted to see. They're getting it now in AEW. And I think people are very happy for it. And I enjoy it. And I think he's going to be a future world champion in AEW. He will go ahead and put a good mark in the AEW for himself. He'll definitely become a star there. Bigger star than he was in WWE. I really believe that. And then I think about the NXT call-ups. When you look at EC3 being destroyed, I mean, somebody please, when I saw the releases of contracts, I'm saying to myself, why couldn't we see the same thing for EC3? Why can't we let that guy go? He doesn't need to be in this. It's such a bad thing for him right now. It sucks. But I would so like to see him somewhere else. I don't think I could go back to Impact right now, but I could see him somewhere else. I could see him. I think MLW would be good with him. I think NWA would be good with him. I mean, you could have him go back to Impact and go back as Ethan Carter III. You could totally do that. But I just don't think it would be really have a spot where he can be, which is the only thing I don't know about, And not sure what they're going to think of what they're going to be able to do. Now, of announcements we have, Marty Scurll has announced he is going to be leaving. He's also done with the company. Going into the news that was recently out about Ring of Honor, the fallout from Final Battle, Marty Scurll was already booking independent dates and is believed to be moving on the company. And people still think he's going to go to that spot. Shane Taylor also, thank everybody that had him talk to him about him going to Ring of Honor or being a Ring of Honor for 3 years, that he was also leaving as well. So Shane Taylor going away as well, that'd be a pretty good guy to have somewhere else. In the same way that Keith Lee's out there doing a lot of great work, they also were really doing a good job with him as well. So I can't complain about that. But Ring of Honor, I'll give credit. They're at least trying to do things where they're trying to go back and forth. I'll give them credit for that. Now, back to my original point. So the Becky Lynch momentum has blown up. And then you had the triple threat for Ronda Rousey, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch to headline WrestleMania. Hey, good match to have. That was the right match to have for this past year's WrestleMania. I thought that was a good thing. Wasn't the best match in the world? No, but I thought they did a good job. But then I mentioned the fact of how, you look at the main eventers they called up, and I mentioned this on the February 21st show. So you bring on, because the ratings were going bad, we're going to give you what you want kind of thing was starting to go on. And then we get Ricochet, Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano, and they all come up to the main roster. Why? And then Gargano goes back after getting injured, and then Aleister Black, that's right, Tommaso Ciampa was supposed to have gone up as well, right? So Ricochet and Aleister Black have survived everything that's gone up with those call-ups. Then they brought in Lacey Evans, and then they brought in Heavy Machinery. Heavy Machinery's found a spot. They're never going to be taken serious at all. Whatever. I guess that's fine. They're the new Breezango for all it matters right now. I don't know how they're going to be taking anything else than what they are. Street Profits has been brought up since, but they were not part of this Operation NXT that was going on right here. And I thought that even before AEW made their real big push into television and did anything else, that WWE felt like they needed to go ahead and respond to all the press that was going on with AEW. They felt like they had to go and do that. They had no other choice. So they went ahead and did what they decided to do was best for them. I mean, the one, besides the Ronda Rousey match and WrestleMania, Roman Reigns' resurges, that was great. Really enjoyed seeing it, that all came about. Batista coming out, having his match with Triple H, I thought great start of an angle, but as usual, you can get a start of a great angle from WWE, but then they cannot finish the middle of the story, and they can never do a finish of a story very well. Not rarely ever at all. Then the Shane Miz matchup and all that story going on, and it's been nice to not have Shane on TV for all this time, but it's actually been very, very enjoyable. I think people should actually be thankful for that. Around WrestleMania time, we had some pretty good promo work. Kofi Kingston finding his way up to the mic and getting a chance at the WrestleMania title shot because of the fact he won an Elimination Chamber as a replacement for Ali. And somehow, some way, here we go. Kofi Kingston gets a chance to be world champion or WWE champion. Orton giving good promos and putting himself together in matches. Shane McMahon, Batista, Ronda Rousey, all doing better, cutting promos. Could enjoy that. And then I just thought about the fact of that WrestleMania weekend, how much the Ring of Honor New Japan G1 Supercard really stood out so much. AEW signing talent, because I think it was at that point they had signed Jon Moxley. And then things just started blowing up. All In, Fight for the Fallen, Fighter Fest. and leading up to, there's going to be Double or Nothing, excuse me. Then All In, that's right. And so you have all that stuff going on over the summer. We'll talk about that coming up in the next show. But it's just recollections about what was going on here. And just to think how things had changed so quickly at this point in April, right around WrestleMania time. Ring of Honor was in a good spot, man. They were getting propped up with a New Japan card, and they were able to get Madison Square Garden. And now to think of those guys, they were struggling to go and sell out seats for any place they go now. And some of the places they could normally go to and they can get a decent crowd, Vegas or go to, Chicago, they're struggling now. Ring of Honor is struggling so bad. They don't have the talent now. And some of the talent they've had, they have utilized badly. I'm not going to say, I can't say more enough about it. It's just in a bad spot. And it's unfortunate. And we're going to leave it at that. Thank you all for listening to the program, checking it out as always. We'll come back this coming Wednesday to see. I will be back tomorrow because it's time for me to go ahead and come back. Because tomorrow night I have to go and do the post show for WWE's Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. We'll talk all about that. Enjoy it tomorrow. I'll be back after that in about 24 hours for another Wrestling is Real podcast because wrestling needs us.
Thank you for listening to the Wrestling is Real podcast, brought to you by KingofAmazon.com. Help support the King of Podcasts. Shop now at KingofAmazon.com.